Welcome back, everybody, here to your coverage of the joinDOTA MLG Pro League European Qualifier as we're going into the winner's bracket, what we class as the quarterfinal. Basically, it's one step away from that last playoff that gets you all the way to X Games. Let's go into the draft. It's already underway, and I can welcome in my co-caster for our second series tonight. Blaze, how are you holding up? What do you want to see from Game 2?
Well, I really liked what I saw from Alliance, so more of the same from them for sure. I thought that the tempo of their draft was really strong. Their overall team fight potential right when they got their blinks online was really good, so I definitely want to see a lot more of that. But Four Anchors might be cheesing it up a little bit here. I mean, Visage is picked up. He's naturally a good hero. He always has been, but he did get some really critical buff-ups to make the Familiars a lot more reliable sources of damage. So I'm curious, actually, if we're going to be seeing the Drow come out immediately, or just threaten out a ban at the very least. But of the heroes that counteract heroes like Undying, heroes like Visage, Gyrocopter's still among them. Flat Cannon still hits the Familiars, and it still does considerable work.
Yeah, it's also one of these things too, which I actually look more for the Gyrocopter. Yeah, the Drow Ranger pickup is going to come. There's no way they're going to bypass this. I'd actually look for the Rocket. I'd look more from the Rocket from the Gyrocopter. The lane presence from that thing is absolutely crazy. It's just instant harassment, and at the start of fights too, if you're not looking for it, it can take off half of the life of one of your cores. Not to mention, include yet again another stun which you have to focus and bring down. Yeah, it's a wonderful kind of way to play with the Gyro now, the Beastmaster 2. It's really good team fight control. Obviously, I still ask a very big question: how do you control the laning phase? First question for you, and probably not more difficultly. What the kind of... that's not even English. How do you deal with the difficult task of stopping a push with a Visage as well as a Drow Ranger?
Well, I think their opener is not too bad. You might have to go more into the Wild Axes than into the Boar, like we saw from Trixie's build previously. So maybe if Admiral Bulldog picks up the hero, tries to focus on getting experience gains, get to at least level 5, that'll help a lot as far as in terms of counter push. And Gyrocopter really just gets everything you can from the lane. Take advantage of the time that you do have, because very soon they're going to be forcing objectives against you where you have to rotate. You don't really get a choice in the matter. So really just making the most of the time you have. And I definitely agree the homing missile is a really fun thing from Gyrocopter, really high potential to like nuke somebody down very quickly. But for some reason, when I've been casting all these Chinese Gyrocopter players, they don't skill it at all. It's like a 4-0-4 build without any homing missile at all. And it's a little disappointing, but if they need that damage up, I guess I understand.
I always look at it. I see the effectiveness of a homing missile compared to something like Flat Cannon with a 30 seconds cooldown. It's just so long to wait for 6 attacks. And once it's gone, you're just like, well, I hope this team fight can last a little bit longer, or else I'm not going to be doing jack. But at the same time, maybe we should also reference something, because this is I know, I can't remember who it was that tweeted it out. But someone tweeted out earlier today watching Na'Vi's game. It's like, wow, this patch just instantly reminds me of like TI2. It was Bulba. That did it now, I remember. But at the same time, you got to remember that Alliance, they used to actually run very consistently the Gyrocopter as a support.
5 seconds remaining.
True. So, yeah, Ake was the master of support Gyrocopter, and that was way before all these supportive Gyrocopter buffs.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm almost certain the Mad's going to be sitting there going, well, let's just pull out some of the old school kind of stuff. Because at this point of the patch, when you've only got a couple of days into it, the most important thing for you is to play heroes that you're comfortable on. Like, that's more important than anything else. And we saw that from Alliance too. Like, they had no prep time at all for the competition over the weekend. In fact, Matt didn't even know he was playing the competition over the weekend. But still, they just came in, they drafted comfortable heroes, like they got the Slaughter up, they picked up Nature's Prophet until it got banned out all the time. And it was just one of these things where you just looked at it and said, okay, just play your comfort zone. Of course, the comfort zone is still #1 position Gyrocopter, but I'm just going to flag it out there as we get just in the early stages of this meta, as well as draft.
Definitely. And I think against Visage it's perfectly fine, because it doesn't matter how much damage you do per shot, as long as those shots hit the Familiars. Because with this Drow Visage lineup, like, I would not say it's overstating it to say that at least 25% of the team's damage is coming out of these little damn birds. Like, they do so much by attacking so fast. The precision aura scales absurdly well with these Familiars, and it's going to be on the Gyrocopter to bring them down pretty quickly. The aura from the Beastmaster can get those shots out faster, but whether support or a core, as long as Gyrocopter is alive and getting those shots out, he's still going to be doing the task set before him. So I would say
he was still crippled in that task. Like this was, I can't remember how many patches ago, but like Gyrocopter used to be the perfect counter pick to the Visage. I don't know if they've changed this, and I just haven't seen it in the changelog. But Flight Cannon still doesn't hit familiars, so there's no way to quickly remove these familiars.
Well, it does now. I actually was testing the other day because so much has changed, and I feel like it was about 4 months ago that they switched it in, and it was actually when Flat Cannon got switched to affect Chilling Touch differently. It was just kind of a minor. It was the spring cleaning patch. That's what it was, and they changed one interaction with Flat Cannon, and it accidentally shifted it back over. There was no changelog for it. But it hits familiars now, and it's as such the best counter in the game for it, even though it's a very understated shift.
I'm glad you've done the research on that one, because I just remember that Visage stopped getting picked because of that change. The fact that they've just like slipped it through without saying, "Hey guys, just a big PSA for everybody out there: Flat Cannon hits familiar birds." Like that's a huge change.
Yeah.
Make a separate changelog just for it. I'm fine with that.
Definitely.
4ASC are really racking on the auras now. This SF's gonna have a great time in mid. This is actually where I really want to see a Leshrac support here from Alliance and get aggressive and up in the face of 4ASC.
Yeah, I mean, they don't get the option to Lina, so I think Lesh would be pretty solid here. Yeah, just to follow through. I also like the idea of Kunkka, to be honest. It's a little silly, but Kunkka boat just surviving through the fights a little bit longer would help a lot against all these glass cannons. But
we saw it earlier today. It was being played by Sing Sing, in fact. He played the Kunkka with the SD combo. They ran it as a dual lane in the mid.
Interesting. So we're looking at Pycat's Brewmaster for the mid lane, and that, I mean, obviously has its own merits up against the Shadow Fiend directly. Drunkard Haze in general is a very powerful spell, but I'm curious how much work they're going to be able to do this game. If you get caught out by a single gust, you could die without contributing a single spell. So you really have to make sure you're timing your initiation very carefully and making sure your approach is valid. That said, if you get the Shadow Demon Brewmaster and the Brewmaster's in trouble, Defensive Disruption is actually really good for him because his illusions automatically get the instant crit. It's a little bit weird, but like just they essentially take the passive as if you just skilled it. So they automatically crit, they automatically dodge the second they spawn. So even if you get a silence against the Brewmaster, just defensively disrupt them and you can reset the fight in a very legitimate way. But I think Shadow Demon is going to be a big hero this patch. He's got a lot of subtle buffs, but ones that can just break the game wide open as far as getting that extra Shadow Poisoner 2 out, and of course the new Aghanim Scepter on his ultimate, which was already very powerful against like melee cores. But probably not here, probably just for lane presence and kind of resetting those silences, as I mentioned.
I'm interested to see what 4AFC when it runs the last one as a sniper pickup.
Ooh.
And I just want to say right now, called it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hero which you wouldn't have really expected to see again after he did get quite a lot of nerfs. Like, if you're looking for someone that got practically... Okay, I'm not going to use that term in my mind because that's just wrong. Very roughly done by Ice Frog. Sniper and Troll Warlord were the top two on his hit list.
5 seconds remaining.
So I'm interested to see just how effective the sniper will be, and if they still run him in the mid. As now we get a Clockwork for 4ASC, so they look for their distance closer on the sniper. But it's not an instant kill for the Clockwork, because that's where SD is just so brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we're going to see Mad pick him up, so he's a very reactive player. He likes to kind of take control and charge situations, so I could see him and Alke doing some real work this game. I mean, even just using Homing Missile into Disruption is going to be great at setup, because you get time for the missile to build up momentum, to get off the ground, and to hit a target. So even though Clockwork, generally speaking, is very safe in an off-lane position, if he pops his cogs and then immediately gets disrupted with a missile already targeting him, I actually think he dies every time. So... yeah, we'll see how it works out. I think they're going to be kind of roaming around a decent bit, and then also maybe doing some stacking so that they can tap into the jungle a little bit later. Since, I mean, Call Down and Flykin is still amazing farming tools, even for a kind of semi-support. So probably opening 1-4-1 with a max homing missile and then kind of taking it from there. This should be a pretty interesting game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Looks like Boogie has popped out the little boy's room. Alliance, okay, lane straight back. Well, that was quick. I kind of want to see too if Alliance get really aggressive with this. Like, obviously they're going to move through as much as they possibly can and establish vision inside the Radiant jungle. But moving in the manner they are right now really flags to me more the fact they want to try and run the full aggro tri-lane. Let Admiral Bulldog go up to the top lane, battle one-on-one with this Clockwork, who's actually trying to dodge it. And we get to see, actually I think for the first time in the games I've casted this new patch, a Mango being picked up. So Trixie able to have a little bit more passive regeneration into him. And he'll go up against the Alliance lane. He is dead so many times every time he gets disrupted. Like,
oh my, he might just be dead level 1.
Yeah.
They've already got vision on him, and the Rocket Barrage is going to start taking effect. Their boots first on Ake, but he will be safe under tower. Still, I mean...
That's a support hero.
They're just showing what's to come, really.
That's what we have to remember through all of this. That's one support that can do something like this. And the combination with him as well as the SD is still just so lethal. Because it was the old school combo. Like, you bring them all together. That's the reason why 4ASC banned out Dazzle in the second banning phase. Because they're worried it'll be like an SD disruption into initially Rocket Barrage and then the Shadow Wave heal, which has 3 on all sides. And Alliance, okay, because 4ASC now try to switch up the lanes, they even capitalize on this. They're going to get both the runes. Admiral Bulldog uses the balls as filter more than anything else. So it's Sniper as well as the Beastmaster who get the early runes. And what do you get in return? 1 kill on a ball.
Exactly. So we're already going to be seeing them. I mean, get the extra tangos up to Pycat, feeling a little bit safer on this lane, just keeping his HP pool up. And Nymphy is at least going to get the Precision Aura to answer back. The Precision Aura allows the Shadow Fiend to go for Necromastery level 1 and reliably still build up those stacks. So Pycat's going to have to be on his game here in the mid to deny him that early momentum.
Okay, he's such a dick.
He really is.
Hey, the funny thing is, like, this is impossible without... Like, they both got boots. They both got boots. Imagine if this Lion didn't decide to buy boots as like, his first item. That is 20 movement speed the Gyrocopter has over the top of him. And I don't think RK really meant to do that. He actually just ended up grabbing the range creep. But either way, Admiral Bulldog's going to be farming down here as Matt and RK to support him. They're up against a defensive tri-lane, which is with Matubaman as the core, Valix and Boogie as the 2 supporters. In towards our middle lane, we've got Pycat Sniper up against the SF of Nymphy, and that leaves our top lane, whereas Trixie versus Loader. And that is the Brewmaster versus the Clockwork.
If they're going to commit to actually an aggro try instead of just roaming frequently, then they have to think about target priority pretty heavily here. If they get a disruption on the Visage, they should be in a pretty good spot, because this is the hero you want to bring down first in the fights. If he gets off multiple soul assumptions, you're going to be in for some trouble. But as it is, disruption into the Rocket Barrage, the boars on top, all that, it's going to be a very quick kill against the Visage, who only has 285 movement speed. So all they need to find is that, but they go for the Drow instead.
They're still going to get the Rocket Barrage damage in. Boogie's copping most of it. He does get that Soul Assumption off, but the first blood, it goes the way of the Shadow Demon. Matubaman's being forced out of here. The catcher on him. One more attack. Admiral Bulldog can't get it off, and there's stick charges available for the Drow Ranger. So she'll end up surviving 1 second till the axes come off cooldown here for Admiral Bulldog. And he can see the Drow Ranger, but he can't hit the target. So they just back up, they heal up, they got first blood. That's what they wanted. Yeah.
And even if they go for the disruption on the Drow, they force the fight where all 3 heroes have to be involved, and they still target the right hero, which is Boogie. Absolutely. I mean, right now, he's even... Like, look how fast he dies to creeps alone. He's going to have to tango all the way back up, because he just lacks armor. He actually has negative 1% physical resistance right now, and only 10% magic resistance. He just doesn't survive. So they're going to keep just riding him, focusing him down, and leave the other lanes to 1v1. In fact, it's going really well for Pycat. He's almost forced Shadow Fiend completely back.
And he's not even level 6 yet. What are you waiting for? Like, the shrapnels are at least a lot harder to harass with now. That just shows you great lane presence. The thing I'm really worried about for 4ASC is this Drow Ranger. And it's not just the fact that, yeah, you've got an aggro tri-lane up against you. It's the fact you're actually running a defensive tri-lane. There's a reason why EG, back when Arteezy was playing with them, they manipulated the mid lane the way they did. Because it allowed you to power level the Drow Ranger. The supports can't stay next to her. She needs to find levels. This whole Wraithband build that you're getting on the Drow Ranger is only really effective when you can get higher points up in the Precision Aura. When you can reach that point up in marksmanship. And that's exactly what she wants. She wants 3 Wraithbands as well as treads. It's good stats, but she's not giving anything right now because she's not leveling up.
Yeah, it's definitely a leveling problem. She's very experience dependent. She needs to build up that marksmanship.
Nemphy's actually, oh man, he's got boots. Yep, disruption, catcher, shrapnel to go down, and just pew 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 pew. One more pew. There it is. They actually threw the whole book at him.
Yeah, Pika will take a lot of damage in return, but maybe he'll get a lucky regen rune spawn at the 4-minute mark here. No matter the case, yeah, I definitely think that's a lot on this Drow Ranger survive. Actually, Visage almost goes down to the boar. Jeez, that's a sad spot to be in. But yeah, Matumba Man needs his levels. He's still gonna go for this build because it's still the most optimal way to build up your familiars. The Precision Aura Max strat is gonna make these familiars hit so hard. But
would you believe it? Sorry.
Of course. Of course.
The RNG got to his way, and Trixie, man, loader, he even opened up with a crit onto Trixie as he came out of Invis.
Ice Frog wants somebody to go to X Games, that's for sure.
It looks like it's Alliance. Well, the only other thing now they need to do to make Alliance just feel so special and Valve like prioritized is give him a TI5 invite.
That'd be something, but yeah, I think the Drow, Visage, both of them are going to be level dependent. Drow needs to build up her marksmanship quick. Visage just needs the familiars at all. He's actually going top to try to split up these lanes into a bit of a dual lane action. It'll be a bottle refill for Trixie, so he'll feel a bit better. And the Boogie can maybe make something happen before the Brew gets a split. But that's a timing window very quickly closing, and at that point, the Brew might even kill the Visage instead. Like, that's how strong the Primal Split is against this hero. But I guess we'll, consider the fact that soon enough we're going to be seeing Matumba Man get those Wraith Bands, maybe Magic 1. Circlet does build from that now, so
I don't think he's going to have a chance, man. Okay, well, that Hawk movement timing from Admiral Bulldog was very much off. RK wanted to drag the creep wave up and into the camp on the side, so he could just farm it up and keep the tier 1 tower taking damage and potentially opening up for Mad and Bulldog to gank him behind the tier 1 tower. They want this Dro dead. They do not want any level of momentum on her, because with her having no momentum and Boogie already being crippled, there's just nothing more for 4ASC to do. RK chasing after Varlix, Matumberman. Just remember, Cold Arrow's leveled up. Defensive disruption here from Mad, so make your choice. There goes your Gust. But they can just start intercepting the creep waves now and forcing the push. Now, I'm fairly certain that's also the reason why RK went for Flat Cannon as opposed to going for this rocket, because I feel as a support hero, the Gyrocopter rocket would have done so much more.
This will come in handy.
Well, there are a lot of range heroes that would look to destroy it, but I definitely think that it's still a very powerful tool one way or another. But he's all about just following up the disruption. And you can see that in Mad's skill build too. He doesn't go like 1-1-1 to max the Shadow Poison. He's going for Soul Catcher too. So it's all about just focusing one target, disrupting, Soul Catchering, and barraging that person down into oblivion within a couple seconds.
How angry is 4ASC going to be? Trixie just he got himself an Invis rune, but Pycat walked down. Now, in fact, Trixie is... He's walking past both Matt as well as RK, who is starting to rotate. But the problem he had was the Pycat moved off the lane, dragged the creep wave back behind the tier 1 tower mid. I don't know if he saw the Invis rune being triggered by Trixie or picked up by Trixie. But either way, here comes your hook shot, but Mad's already here waiting for him. He's going to take Pycat out of the mix, and Trixie just runs himself away. RK with a flat cannon. It's more of a pester than actual damage.
Exactly. Yeah, I was looking at Radiant Vision the whole time. They had no idea that Mad was still there. I mean, they might have suspected, but generally speaking, these guys were roaming frequently. The fact is, Pycat takes pretty much no damage at all, like one tango's worth of damage for a full hookshot rotation. This is your tempo controller. This is the guy that's supposed to make things happen. He's by far the highest level along with the Shadow Fiend. They just needed something to work here to get a kill on the board.
Oh, disruption, bottom lane. RK's coming in. The Gust's going to push him back, but he already triggered the Rocket Barrage.
Yeah.
So the Lion is a very quick casualty of war here. I still can't believe...
This is game in and of itself. The fact that Drow had to skill Gust at level 3. Like, just so much pressure for her, and yet it's still kind of fruitless. We're seeing Pycat in the mid, getting an easy kill, Shrapnel, right-click, and the Assassinate.
Then you can move your attention to the top. Move your attention up towards top in a moment. Oh, that rocket from Trixie. It couldn't have come at a better time. RK was trying to manipulate the Fog of War, being at the last few seconds of nighttime. So he TP'd up to the tier 1 town, tried to loop in from behind. But never found the opening to let the rocket off. Or the homing missile, I should say. As we already have another rocket wielder.
Now they've got a Roar bottom. Do you think there's actual kill potential with the Shadow Demon as well? Only one level in Poison is probably the reason it's lower chance to succeed.
They need more. And I suppose a double damaging sniper might be considered as more.
Oh yeah. Even an assassinate would be plenty, honestly.
Yep. Well, here they come. Matubberman. It was really nice knowing you. Shrapnel's down, and look at Poogie. Oh my, Poogie! He got nailed. Oh, he got so nailed.
That is just insanely unfortunate. They didn't even use the roar, and they just headshot him down. I mean, they're going to be able to run down this tier 1 tower. They're going to take away all of Drow's farming places. Soon enough, she's going to be able to accumulate nothing.
That's just brutal. That's just absolutely brutal. Alliance into game number 2 of this best of 3 in the winners bracket quarterfinal, and they're just having everything go their way. They must have robbed a leprechaun before they played tonight.
Seems to be the case.
I almost want to quote something that Sebastian said to me, and I'm just going to put this as succinctly as I possibly can as I read his words. This patch, I fucking love it. I'm very hyped. That's me being succinct with his words. They just love it because it's so easy to play so many different types of stress, to find so many different timing attacks, and also the fact that pushing now is rewarded. So it rewards you to actually force the end of a game. Varlix, he's missing the stun, and that Hawk, they couldn't get rid of it in time. It's these little things that Alliance is now finding that they can, like, as they slowly also get the coordination better and better and better as time goes on. It makes better teams better, as in, like, they get better results because you got a higher skill. You got more to manipulate.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of casting a lot of Vici Gaming this past week, and I've seen them run a 13-minute Drow Visage victory, and I've seen them run 45-minute late game Enigma Dragonite strats.
Bulldog, a little bit of trouble. Pyke's going to try and help him out, beating into Trixie, but there's a lot more support here. Bulldog's going to drop down, and these little things which make you still question just how well Alliance are playing. As another shrapnel, Trixie knows if he gets assassinated, he's actually dead. No, Pycat's going to cancel it because he sees Nephi coming in. RK leaving a homing missile behind him, and Pycat, one more attack would actually kill him off, but he's away to safety. The Clockwork Rocket is 8 seconds away, and Pycat's being very elusive for it. Very, very elusive for it.
Nah, he's actually fine enough now. He's just sealed up with a tango, and suddenly, they can get absolutely nothing. They got the 1 kill, though. I mean, they have to be happy with that.
Love following those rockets, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Obviously, it's not a napalm rocket. Which is where most people know that music from.
So we've got Blink Dagger now out on Loda. He's ready to go. The Familiars are up for the Visage. I wonder how long they'll last. He's smoking up actually with them. And between that and the Finger of Death, they've got a lot of damage. Just pop the Drow Aura and see what you can do with it.
They're about to jump. Trixie, he's in range of 3 heroes to hookshot at the moment. Primary one being RK. Admiral Bulldog, in fact, is not even repositioning himself. He's moving the balls up, and there's your jump in. Instantly into the split. They don't want this Clockwork control anyway. Even the cooldown's being committed, but he hookshots down, which has isolated the Brewlings. They got the pick-off over on the Shadow Demon, and Admiral Bulldog wants out here. These Familiars did not die fast enough, but now, with the Brewlings coming back in again, the control up on Varlix, so they take out one. Nephi was also sent up into the air by the Storm Brewling. So it's the best fight the 4 AOC have had in a very long time, but it's not the greatest.
Not ideal. They pop the Drow Aura for it. They only get the Shadow Demon out of it. Now Loda reinitiates with the DD rune. Fortunately, they've got some coverage for him, but even still, the long-range damage from Podcat is going to scare him off quite a bit. And yeah, I mean, it's just not great trades, but it's something. At least they're not losing more momentum, and they create space for Drow. Madama farms the entire bottom lane, sitting on like 200, 300 HP. Like, because he knows all 5 are occupied elsewhere, which is really good for him. So at least he's gonna get his core items that we were talking about, and kind of looks to maybe get a Manta style or something from there.
She just throw another question out there. How much damage does Arcade need to kill off these Familiars in 2 hits? I don't know. It shouldn't take longer than that.
Well, no, that's the change for 6.84 is they are based on the number of strikes against them rather than a certain amount of damage.
Okay,
so all it
doesn't
is
need to do any damage dealing items at all. It can still remain a pure support gyrocopter.
Exactly. Exactly. He just 4 hits every single time will kill them off. So he might need a little bit of attack speed, but otherwise he does his job just as a support. And I think that's actually the strength of the gyrocopter pick here is it doesn't matter what he does, how much damage he does, as long as he lives long enough to get the shots off.
Well, looks like middle lane, they're having some fun here. Varlik's going to set up over on the Brewmaster. As man doesn't want him to get out away from this one. The Purge, okay, there's some good damage coming in from a Tumberman. That assassination, it actually flew all the way after Varlik's didn't actually connect. Obviously, he's going to disjoint, but Pycat, he really caught out by Trixie's hook shot in, and Loda wants to retreat, has to retreat. There's no split for him, but his Blink Dagger's back off cooldown, so he blinks away from the familiars. So the Sniper and the SD go down. Will Admiral Bulldog find some space up on the top lane?
So just trying to take any fight they can, get any kills they can, and killing off Pycat in particular is going to be a really big deal for their momentum. Suddenly, his Sanjin Yasha isn't going to be nearly as scary if they get the gold boost they did. But they still want a tier 1 tower, right? Like this Drow Vista strat, half of it is about not only gaining momentum, but just destroying the map with those demolishing familiars.
Brewmaster just triggered the smoke, sitting behind the towers, and no one's got any level of protection on him at all.
Yeah. In fact, if they stick around, they're just going to get dove so hard, so easily. I mean, they have the Hawk vision, they have the Brewmaster vision, and they have the push coming in. So this is just for AC having to see the tower and just push elsewhere. I think the Drow can push bottom a little bit, but otherwise they really aren't going to get anything here.
Top tower is under attack.
Well, there's one nice thing for ASC, Trixie, with the recent kills, and now able to pick up his Blade Melt. He's got some level of advantage with the Sniper just pounding away at him. It's actually kind of funny too, looking at the swing up. There's just a couple of kills here and there, but with now the tower advantage just swinging around, we're going to see mid towers getting pushed out by familiars, bottom tower as well. But the gold advantage is only sitting at around 3.5k in favor of Alliance, and the experience is almost zeroed out at this point. So for AFC, after seeing those graphs, I'm feeling are getting a hell of a lot more out of the recent, like 5-10 minutes than I thought they were. Because it kind of felt to me like Alliance is just snowballing out of this one.
True, but the big thing is that Drow didn't have to contribute anything but her aura. She uses that, the familiars do a little bit more damage, and she stays back and farms the jungle and pushes bottom. So she at least builds herself up to, unremarkable 5k net worth, but it's something to at least gain some momentum here. They still are behind strategically because they were looking to take at least 2 towers by 15 minutes, and the fact that they haven't kind of is unfortunate for them.
Bulldog's having a little bit of trouble with his Necro units. For ASC keeping very, very close eyes over on Roshan, primarily because of all of Alliance are over there right now. I don't know if Roshan's really their intended target, however. Obviously, it's always nice to get a Roshan, but it's better to try and find kills, and I feel like Roshan's almost like a bait. Speaking of bait, Nemphy. That's 3 heroes all smoked up, and not to mention Loda with a haste rune. So he can just blink, clap, slow down the SF, and buy the rest of his time for teams to come in. And here comes, well, at least it's the called down aggressive disruption, cancelling the cooldown. It does cancel the damage from the cooldown, but cancelling the TP, more importantly, the Shadow Fiend. And that's going to be a kill, going the way of Alliance.
Yep, good clean kill, good smoke play. Pycat was also able to pick up a familiar, so he forces the Visage to resummon those. And Visage is actually farming really slowly here. Like, you look for, if you're trying to really optimize on this strategy, to try to go for Medallion, into Ags, and then maybe go into that Solar Crest, the new upgraded Medallion. But in this case, like, he can barely afford one piece of the puzzle, and they're just kind of impoverished at this point. They might be able to go for a smoke play of their own here in about 3 minutes' time, or maybe with the one that Boogie has on him. But they have to make that one count. It can't just be picking up a support. They have to actually bring themselves back with it. Up top, though, nice siege onto the tower, and the tower can't really do much for itself. As long as they pop the Drow Aura as they have, that's actually a pretty clean kill for them.
That was perfect for him too, because Alliance started going onto Roshan. They triggered the Necro books of Admiral Bulldog as well to try and tank up for the team when Sniper went in. But with the rockets flying in all the time, like, that's why I just don't understand why Alliance is being so pushy around the Roshan area. They can't keep 4AFC off the top lane because the Familiars are going to do the job anyway with the Drow Aura. So, what is there really to gain?
Yeah, I kind of feel like they should be looking to just fully invade into the Radiant Jungle, get some observer wards down in that area. Like, obviously the central one is pretty standard, or you can get one off to the west to try to catch the Shadow Fiend farming hard camp stacks or anything like that. And if you do that, then you're going to be in like a much more aggressive position where you can actually like close out the fact that you have accumulated such an advantage this early on. But it looks like they are perfectly fine with taking the game late game. They're just kind of building themselves up towards level 11 and 16, just kind of looking for a long-term strategy more than anything else.
Well, for now they can do that. Advantage still just hovering around the 0 mark for experience and net worth around the 3k. As everyone just gets all their little precious booties, but listen, no, 4SC, they're not going to wait. Smoke time. They're coming to kill. Sentry wards are down for the Dire side, but there's no obs there for the Radiants, all back on their side of the river. Very defensive ward, in fact, and they're going to jump into the Roche pit?
Ooh, that's risky.
They put down the Observe ward, or maybe not, with the Medallion of Courage. Look how much damage they do. They do have 2 points up in the presence of the Dark Lord, and now Pycap. He threw out the Shrapnel, but that was for the bottom lane. Roshan's already gone down. That was very quick from 4ASC.
Yeah. I have no doubt of the timing with that Drought Aura taking full effect in close proximity there. I guess it was the fact that they saw that Emerald Bulldog was up top, and they knew that he wouldn't be summoning Hawks for bottom. So they kill off one Hawk, they smoke up, and they know that Bulldog's up top for the next summon. So all they're risking is Shadow Poison or Shrapnel hitting the pit, and Alliance caught unawares by one of their old strats, going for the very early Sneak Roshan from behind.
Funny thing is, they didn't even have to turn on the Drought Aura for that.
Oh yeah, because it's close. It's like right next to you. The 900 as long as you're within 900 radius, the familiars still get the aura. They only activate it globally when the familiars are at a distance.
Yep. I'll bring on the battle. So, well, they're bringing in more sentry wards. Alliance must be really worried about this vision from 4AFC, but if they throw in a sentry ward now, they're gonna be really sad because the obs that was there just timed out. A sentry ward wouldn't have been in range anyway, but it just reveals that the fact if they are going to go for another observer ward, they know exactly where that sentry is now. Trixie and
Namphy mid.
Yeah, they're looking to jump in. Arcade's already going to go down. Is there any kind of real return damage? You even want to do return damage because Trixie, with this haste rune, he can reposition perfectly to hook shot up. He doesn't want to hook shot underneath the tier 1 tower into a Brewmaster split, but if he's got support, maybe he would. Now, this game's getting better and better for 4ASC. They still have to get towards the end goal, which is still taking high ground, which is not the easiest thing in the world up against this lineup of Alliance, but if they can win the fight, they could do a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah. I just really don't understand why Alliance are so uncertain about taking the enemy side of the map. The Radiant Jungle, the Radiant Tier 2s, all of that seems pretty easy to push out at this stage in the game, but I guess they still want to build themselves up a little bit more to deal with these familiars and just to deal with their damage as a whole. Like we see Ake, for example, has Drums of Endurance. You pop that, and you have so much attack speed, along with a little bit of Inner Beast, Necronomic Aura, etc. That's going to be good. But Trixie.
Yeah, nice little cog split, and well, there's no stuns available, but they don't need them. They burn through them anyway. They take the damage from the Blade Mail return. But it's what Alliance would want. This now means that 4AOC taking a fight in the top lane isn't as easy until this. Pycat, Shrapnel, he can't do anything. The familiars drop down and they even cancel the TP. Make this a straight tower trade-off. You still got the Necro units here from Admiral Bulldog now up at level 3. So it's a tier 2 for a tier 2. Brewmaster. Okay, blink, clap, instantly into the split. And goes after the Droid Ranger, stuns him up, takes the SF out of play, and Matumbaman's having a real hard time getting away from this. The familiars are behind him at the moment, but Droid Ranger, here comes that Earthstun again, the fire brilling is still up, and that's enough damage, going to kill off Matumbaman, but the question is, can Lodi get back out of this one safely? Send him up, Yep, you bet your Nelly. He's going to walk over here, steal the South Shield, and pick himself up a TP scroll. The bottom tower didn't go down in the meantime. In fact, yeah, it ends up just being a draw for a sniper trade.
Exactly. They do a lot of good damage to the bottom tier 2, but that last exchange there was all about the Mask of Madness movement speed reduction, going down to only 17% Berserk move speed. He couldn't outrun it. I mean, these pandas are decent on their feet, but the old Mask of Madness would have allowed any of the Agi carriers who pick it up to escape. Instead, they take care of that. They did not mid, and Alliance still just focusing on overall map control. Looks like Loda went for a casual point booster, didn't want to commit to the Axe, as it's not as good as it used to be, and just goes for the Vladimir's offering instead.
He can still go for the Aegis later on, but he's probably also realizing that his team needs just a little bit more at the moment.
Yeah. Armor and block mechanics are really important against Visage, honestly. Like, those familiars are just going to tear through people really quickly if they don't leave that checked a little bit with any form of survivability mitigation mechanism at the very least.
Dire's bottom tower is
These
under
damn
attack.
familiars.
Dire's
This
structures
is
are
the one thing which, like,
Radiant's
while I
middle
do enjoy the
tower
split
is
push
under attack.
mechanics, I hate familiars.
Dire's bottom tower
Absolutely
has fallen.
hate them. They are flying rats with no souls.
Dire's bottom
Because they're just
tower
so
is
hard to
under
battle
attack.
up against. Like, if the damage was more manageable, like if you can get there in time to deal with them, then it's fine. But even without the Draw Ranger aura, after they clap down, they come back up again. The damage output of these familiars is just so high and fast. I don't know how you're meant to respond to it.
Definitely. Yeah, with just the fact that they have so much damage with the charges, it's actually just incredible. But you're talking to a Visage picker here. I love those damn things. Even if they're annoying as hell to others, I just like to just use them to their maximum potential.
Well,
whether
I'm
you're
fine
blocking...
as long as you pick it when we're playing together and not playing
Sure,
against me.
sure.
Because
Exactly.
that's the frustration. I'll play my Draw Range until my heart's content, and you can play Visage, and together we'll have wonderful MMR.
Yeah, especially in this patch. I think Draw Visage is going to be very popular. I don't know if it's going to be like a first phase ban like I've seen a couple times against Vici, but at the very least a second phase respect against teams willing to run it, because I mean those familiars and their survivability is just so much stronger than it used to be. Used to be you had to worry about Bristleback, Quills, and Axe taunting and going for the counter helix. Had to worry about Luna Glaives. None of that. Just the flat cannon. That's all that hits.
I think you actually touch on the perfect point of like how the drafting is probably going to happen. It's all about banning against heroes who are willing to run certain strats. That's it. Like you can't ban out all the different types of strats. It's just if you can get the better counter strat. Now Nemphy, you're in a lot of trouble. Triggers the BKB, winds up a Brewmaster. Already got the split, and the Roar in fact cancels off. Actually, no, he did get the Requiem Assaults off, including his death one. He'll go down while Trixie up in the air. He'll hit the deck. Disruption from Mad. He's got Catcher as well as Poison. Trixie, you're not TPing out this one. They lose their 2 cores. But Alliance is still still in cleanup duties.
Yeah, I mean, I like the attempt, but just as it is, the Roar is such a good counter in this stage, and you might kind of take a leaf out of the Pycat's book from the Shadow Fiend build he went last game. He went Mechanism, Manta, and then the Linked Sphere, so they didn't have to worry about the Laguna Blade or the Roar, and in this case, the Roar is going to counter you every time you use that BKB, because there's really no better target.
Middle tower is under attack.
We're back to our farming for Alliance. They got so much money on their cores. The Brewmaster is happy as Larry, the Sniper, getting everything he really wants. The Beastmaster's making sure that 4ASC are blind in the map now, walking around with a gem. And probably soon to have a Blink Dagger if he wants one. Speaking of Blink Daggers, this one that's been picked up on Varlix, have you even felt the effect of this? Because I haven't.
Not really, no. I mean, obviously Blink Hex is in general a really strong initiation and counter-initiation tool, but I guess just most of these engagements have been kind of over before they start. Like, Smoke of Deceit will allow Volix to use this Blink Dagger very effectively, but if you get kind of a half-hearted engagement, it just doesn't change enough, unfortunately, at least not in his hands. Some support players will be able to do amazing wonders just with the Blink alone, but in this case, they need to start the fight off right.
Well, they're trying to now, jumping in over an Admiral Bulldog. They're able to get the stuns off, Finger of Death, and Admiral Bulldog 4-staffed up. He's still going to go down, but he got his Necro units up, which might be even more important because they're locked in there with Trixie, and that's a real problem for him. At the same time, though, Loda never got off anything he really wanted to either. Pyca's deep in the mix, and it's 4ASC who are the ones coming up with more and more kills across the board. It's a double kill for Boogie. It's still a 3-on-3 trade-off as Matumbaman's running out of here. These Necro units actually did more lifting than I thought they were going to. But Alliance only have their 2 supports left alive after the 2 cores of 4AFC retreat.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, really good focus there. Of course, they got the jump on Bulldog, but the fact that the familiars were able to bull line, just go right straight for Loda, that was just tore through him so quickly. They used Medallion, they right-click him down with the aura intact, and he's gone. And then Sniper falls to them too. Like, the AK's right-clicks are coming out pretty quick, He's got about like 50 bonus attack speed when he activates the drums, but it's still not enough just yet. They still have to worry about these familiars on the back line, and soon enough there's going to be 3 of them. So it's even more important the flak cannon is in that fight from the beginning.
Are you a fan of a Blink BKB from the SF?
No, honestly. I mean, it might help, it might create opportunities, but generally speaking, I feel like he just needs combat items, and it's going to be a long time before he can get one.
Yep, especially as this immunity is getting lower and lower, because now he's just triggered his BKB once again. So,
to be honest with you, I wasn't even that big of a fan of a Shadow Fiend pick from the beginning. A lot of Drow Visage lineups run something like an Invoker or a Puck, something that gives control in the fight so that they at least bring utility, and then the Drow naturally gives them damage with the aura. But in this case, they kind of stacked damage on top of damage, and they left themselves vulnerable when they couldn't cover the SF against the Sniper. He got absolutely destroyed, and in these fights, he doesn't do much either.
Familiar drop, slowing down almost all of Alliance. These Familiars are going to come back up at a moment around the same time as Roshan's going to die, but is killed by the Dire. Sniper picks up the Aegis, the Immortal, and the Familiars die instantly in line smoke up. This is primarily for the movement speed. They're looking to kill off the guys in mid. Boogie's going to get stunned up. Loda right behind him. Blink, clap. He got there in time with the Drunken Haze. He's just trying to keep Visage slowed down even more as the cooldown number 1 rocket connects and number 2 rocket too. So Boogie, he'll die in the mid. You've got the SF who's still just up on top, but he can't come yet. The TP's on cooldown. Comes off cooldown in 2 seconds time. So you'll just get a tier 2 for a tier 2 tower trade, but lost the Visage as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see Familiars on the field.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. They were taken. One of them was taken down in the fight previous in the mid, and then this one, I guess, just got killed off on the sideline in the midst of things. So Familiars will be summonable again in 25 seconds, but that might be too late. I mean, the tier 3's already taken so much damage. They'll force the glyph, they'll back off, and with that, I mean, it's just, they lose a big fight. At least Nephi gets the split push on, blinking out. No, he doesn't blink out.
TP?
He gets disrupted. Oh my, he can BKB TP, but okay, there's no other reinforcement. Okay, if there was a second hero going in, you could easily see that TP canceled, but
yeah,
it looks like he will be able to get out okay.
I think it just looked like Alliance was split in the decision-making. It looked like they could potentially take out the tier 3 tower in mid. Saw the TP coming and just said, okay, guys, let's just back the hell out of here. And didn't TP back. Or maybe it's also because there weren't TPs. I'm not looking at a TP over on the Sniper. Loader has no slots for him. Beastmaster now. Yeah, that was it. They just didn't have another hero that could TP apart from Mad.
So Mad was kind of bluffing there, to be honest. The Shadow Fiend could have fought him easily if they had known about that TP situation. But yeah, at least
I might have been wrong. I didn't actually see if someone TP back after the fight or if they just walked back out.
I think you're right, actually. But you know, hard to see without looking back at the replay. But yeah, Alliance kind of extending themselves pretty far forward and not having a great bounce back. Sometimes you see actually like a BOT's picked up for a Beastmaster team because you can jump to the Hawk and that would allow you to get into the.
But what's the point with the new BTs?
Well, those are pretty expensive. I would say that you still benefit enough from the creeps without spending, what is it, like 2,000 extra gold? I don't know.
Let me just find the boots so we get this 100%. It is 4,450 gold in total for boots of travel. But the cooldown's only 45 seconds, and you can TP onto any hero on the map.
Yeah, I'll just keep my level 1 BOTs, thank you. I'll use Brewlings and Hawks as my proxy. I can't imagine many games where I actually leveled it up. It probably will be like 2 months at least before I ever buy that item.
I'm wondering too how it's gonna work with Tinker when players finally start selecting him again.
Oh yeah.
If it's actually 100% worthwhile to get that when you can already TP into most creep waves.
Yeah, I mean, we saw really cool things with Elder Titan and the Astral Spirit when you could BOT to that. So, I mean, there's still kind of that little bit of a range extension where you can find some new opportunities. For the most part, you'll still just see Beastmaster Tinker strats, and they'll just use it that way. But after you get your core up, your Dagon, Ethereal Blade type stuff, and of course your Blink BOTs, I could see you still getting some value in the level 2.
I found hilarious Alliance doing this such the ultimate hard way. They're pushing it through the bottom lane now to do more damage to this tier 3 tower when they could have potentially just taken out the tier 3 tower in the mid and then move over elsewhere. Trixie, look careful with those cogs, man. Pinecat's still going to beat the crap out of you.
Or an offensive force staff could really ruin him, but Aka's was on cooldown there. But yeah, we're going to see just stuns and harassment. The Gust, the Hex. Oh, nice disruption.
Nephi winds up the ultimate. How much damage? Not enough. Loda gets the split off. The cooldown's also controlling up perfectly. Nemphy's BKB has already run out now, and he's just been pumped down by Pycat, who sits under the own protection of his BKB. Needs to get away from these damn familiars, which are now brought down to. Even though they do hit the ground and have the stun to follow up, it just wasn't enough. And even if it was, Pycat's there with an Aegis of the Immortal. They keep invising, switching targets too, and now Admiral Bulldog in for the axes, snipes out the Lion, and Pycat just keeps pounding into Matumbaman. He's got this homing missile chasing after him. Arcade's going to give him the urn charge, and is it enough damage? No, He's in range of the fountain, but you're losing Trixie anyway. He's going to TP out, actually able to get out to safety, but you've still lost your racks, or have you? Drone Ranger will buy back, your Clockwork's still alive. Hook shots off cooldown in 9 seconds time. Potentially you could find some exit frags. Loda doesn't have ultimate, but they need to finish off this melee racks. The fortification's slowing them down. But Pycat has also still got the Aegis, the Immortal. So is this really going to be enough? Disruptions there. Bulldog roar in 8 seconds time. And Pycat, he's chasing it down. He wants Matumbaman. He really wants Matumbaman. He also wants to burn this Aegis Immortal, but Matumbaman lives on 45 HP. He'll survive through this. At the same time, they lose Admiral Bulldog. Loda still no split available. Arcade needs to come back in and help out his teammate, but Pycat gets shredded apart by 4ASC. And Alliance have overstayed their welcome here. Arcade realizes he's dead, so he sticks around, gets a triple kill to the SF. But they did at least take the bottom racks, even if they threw away a hell of a big advantage for themselves.
Yeah, in 6.83, that would actually be considered a bad trade right there, losing all those lives. But in 6.84, it's so valuable to get the barracks. The gold gain for the melee racks went up from 175 to 275 for every member of Alliance here. And then the range racks went from 100 to 225. So you're going to see the gold net worth graph go dramatically in their favor, with a small nudge to the back the other way with the kills going for 4ASC, but they had to buy back on the Drow. She got finished off by the Assassinate in her own fountain. I really wanted that homing missile to connect, by the way. The 4-staffed homing missile could have gotten the kill there, but as it was, they still killed him off, forced the buyback, and it looks like the Tier 2 will be the only exchange.
Yeah, they can't reach the Tier 3 tower in time. I also want to flag out Mad's build, just for how awesome it is for an SD. The Glimmer Cape. So you can run in and get these disruptions, so there's no need for a Blink Dagger, because then you can also be defensive up against other players, save your own teammates to get them into possessions, but it's also the fact he's building an Aghanim Scepter on the SD.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming that's what the point booster is for, unless there's something else which the point booster is now made for. I'm gonna double check.
No, I mean the Soul Booster, so you can get you know, the new item, the Green Core, as well as the Bloodstone. But he's gonna go for Aghanims for sure. The 3 charges is absolutely insane, and you're also really screwing over the Drow. You don't get the Aura or the Marksmanship passive when you're broken, and that's what the SD ultimate does when it's agged up, is it gives the break effect. So that means Matumbaman won't be benefiting from any of that agility, and it just takes so much away from the hero.
Kind of forgot about the core for a moment. There's like 6.
Oh yeah, I'd like to forget about the core, honestly. Oh my gosh, that item. It's so ridiculous on some heroes late game.
It's just so funny how so many of these items can be considered completely broken. I know Blitz's primary issue, which he was having, was actually with the Glimmer.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when it had no mana cost. Like now it's at least you have to trade something. Before it's just like, yeah, 1,000 range, no mana cost, 16-second cooldown. Why not? It's just, it still destroys some heroes though.
But when you're walking around now with also a Soul, wow, bad, what are you doing, dude? So deep, but Matumbaman runs out. Admiral Bulldog, he's got this draw, but Brewmaster goes for the split, and Mad turns around now. Varlix, he's going to drop so quickly. Trixie has jumped himself in with a hook shot, but we've split up the fight so far. Nemphy, Admiral Bulldog will finally come down to try and control him out, while Pycat, he's been forced back by familiars only, but Nemphy's the primary one. Can't get the full Requiem of Souls off. It's only the death channel for him, and Drone Ranger up in the air. This could be the fight, and I don't know if Mad just basically said, yo boys, I'm going to play the fish on the end of the hook, and that was one hell of a big bait. 4AFC bit the entire thing, and the Alliance, well, they've just killed 4AFC.
Yeah, Mad, the entire fight was playing games with Matumbaman. The Drow on the back line, she was trying to fight, trying to kill him. He disrupts himself, he glimmers away a couple of different times there. Demonic purges her, and then the Wind Panda with the Axe effect gets the Drunken Haze against her, so she can't even hit him then. And he just like was running circles around her practically, the way that he manipulated her in that fight, and then they tornado her for later. It's just, It's so shameful to be in that position as a Drow where you don't have the Manta, the MKB, BKB, anything to counter those plays, and the end result is Alliance just running them over in the last couple of fights.
Well, we can call GG on it. Alliance have managed to get themselves a date with BBC. The winner of this will qualify themselves for the joinDOTA MLG Pro League Season 2 LAN Finals hosted live at X Games. It's going to be massive. It's going to be huge. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully we'll see you all there. If not, you'll find the live stream right here on MLG.tv, which is a great platform too. They've pumped in a lot of money into Dota 2, so big shout out to them. Over $550,000 just for this year has been pumped in by MLG, and hopefully more in the future as well. So thanks everyone for watching. This is going to be the end of our stream tonight. You can check out the VODs for all the matches at youtube.com/joinDOTA. Follow my co-caster Blaze at Blaze Casting, and you can also check out my first co-caster from the day, which was Blitz. So Blitz_Dota. You can find him there. Any last words, Blaze, before we wrap up tonight?
I'm just going to say that I'm really looking forward to seeing Alliance play in the future in 6.84. Obviously, Mad's excited about the patch. Admiral Bulldog is able to play more of his core heroes with it. And in general, this roster seems to be really good at adjusting dynamically. I mean, you see Loda, the scale of heroes that he plays from hard farming to initiating, it's really fun to see. And if they don't get invited, I am going to call it now that they're going to get one position, the first position at the qualifiers for TI5.
Ooh, that's a big call, man. That's a big call, because what happens if NIP is down in there, as well as like Na'Vi? They've been playing better of late too. That's a big call.
I'm sure, but I'll stick to it.
You're gonna stick to it? Well, you heard it here first. We'll see if Alliance do get an invite over the next couple of days for TI5. Is what's in everyone's lips. But for now, my lips are gonna get sealed. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.